Welcome back to my channel, or if it's your first time, welcome. I am a vegetable gardener, primarily a vegetable gardener in Ohio Zone 6A. In this video, I'm going to talk about some things that are not going great right now. And hopefully, maybe with your help, we can figure out exactly what's going on and get it back on track. And then I'm going to plant some kohlrabi and some sedum dragon's blood. Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, before I get into my out and out failures, things that are going drastically wrong, I want to talk about my successes. Things that are going well so far in this early point in the season. So, with that being said, I present my brassicas. So last week I planted two types of cabbage, emerald, I think it was emerald green, and ruby perfection. Maybe I'm backwards. And they've germinated really well. I also planted broccoli, again, doing very well. I did 5 of each of those just because I didn't want a ton, because it's my first time growing cabbage and my first time growing broccoli, so I didn't want to go crazy. I also planted basil, just because I want to have a ton of basil this year. It's too early for basil in 6A, but I'm going to harvest all of it throughout the next couple of months, and then hopefully put it out in the end of May or June. And I'll also probably grow some more to go out as well. Then I filled the rest of the bed up with kale. So I did a ton of scarlet kale. I want a lot of color in my garden this year, and I really would like a lot of it to come from the veg. So the scarlet kale will bring in some reds. It'll be really nice. I did some dinosaur kale, or Lacento kale, I believe it's called. And then I did a bunch of Vates Blue Scotch kale, just to round it out, because that's my favorite to eat, the Yates Blue Scotch. I like the coarse, curly kale. And I think the scarlet kale will be really good too. And then the dinosaur kale, I tend to use more so in cooking, in like stir fries and things like that. Yeah, so they came out along pretty well. So I'm pretty happy with the brassicas. I think they're going to be fine. It's the perfect time. I can put them out when it's still cold outside. I can put them under some protection if it's really cold, and they will be just fine. I'll keep the basil in till probably well into May, maybe even June, but I'll harvest off it along the way. Here are my onions. This is where we're at. We started them February 1st. This is where they're going. So you might notice at the top of the onions, there's some yellowing. That is the cotyledon leaf. That's the first leaf that emerged. It's not a true leaf. The true leaves are kind of coming up the side. I don't know if you can see them. Let's see. See the little one? See it kind of coming up? That's the first true leaf. I've started feeding them using a balanced fertilizer, and I think they're doing pretty well. They're looking good. The Patterson is looking better. I don't know if you can tell in this video, but it's looking much healthier than the Walla Walla. I'm not sure what the reason is here. I think potentially these their roots might have got damaged slightly. Maybe I overwatered or something in the beginning, because they're a little sort of bendy and corkscrewy with certain ones. I'll try and show you that. See how that one is kind of all twirly? I believe that's a sign of root damage, potentially from overwatering. I think they'll recover, just because aside from that, they're looking okay, just much more floppy than the Patterson, which you can see are looking pretty awesome. So yeah, I'm not worried about the onions. I'm going to have plenty. I just have a small raised bed that they're going into, so I won't be able to plant all of these anyhow. However, I am worried about my peppers. Okay, peppers. As you can see, there's a problem. All of my bell peppers, most of them, have germinated. None of the jalapeños have. So in terms of what went wrong with the jalapeños, I have 2 theories. One, potentially bad seeds. I read further reviews on the seed packet that I bought, and I have seen some talking about poor germination. So that's a possibility. I am more inclined to put the blame on me, being a new gardener, so I'm not going to write off the seed company. I'm just going to keep looking into it and see if it was something I did, which is very, very likely. The other thing it could have been or could have contributed to them not germinating is I didn't pre-soak the seeds. And it did suggest that on the back of the packet to pre-soak them. I didn't do that. But my solution for now is I am going to plant some Anaheim peppers. A viewer suggested Anaheim. She said they produce far more fruit than the Cali Wonder, and seeing as my jalapenos failed, I definitely have a need for more peppers. So I'm going to do these. I'm going to pre-soak them, and hopefully they should germinate just fine. If they don't, then I'll be more inclined to believe that there's something wrong with the seeds. Although the bell pepper, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully these will be successful. With the lavender, we're still at just 2. I'm chalking it up to old seeds. They were really old seeds. Not too worried about it. I'm just going to baby the crap out of these 2 and hope for the best. Sedum dragon's blood. This is what I'm planting today. This is going to go under my rose bush out by my garage door. I think it's going to be a beautiful, it'll complement it beautifully. And just look at that. I know that's artwork, but it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous plant. So yeah, that's what I'm going to plant now. So sedum is a perennial succulent, and it likes very, very well draining soil, being part of that succulent family. So I bought this succulent and cacti soil from AgriLife Soil, which should work. However, although it's a succulent, it also wants something to cling to. So I'm going to mix it with some Jiffy seed starting mix that I put in this bag just to, I don't know why I did that, I just did. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to pop them up. Oh, I got these biodegradable pots just because it does not like its roots disturbed. And I can plant these directly into the soil when the time comes. So I'm thinking I will do 24 of these because they may not, I don't know how the germination is going to be. I don't know how it's going to pan out. Plus, I know they take a while to spread. So I want to put down quite a few in the beginning. And then they're easy to tear up if needs be. Oh wait, here we go. All right, there we go. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna do 2 12 counts. They're very small, but I'm imagining these are gonna grow very slowly, so I'm not worried about that. And it came with these little name tag thingies, which is cool. So I'm going to mix the soil at a ratio of, I need to check, 1 second. At a ratio of 1 to 1. I've heard that you can do straight up soil mix, but I want to do a mix of the succulent mix and the Jiffy. I just feel like it's probably the safest option. Haven't opened this yet, so I haven't seen exactly the makeup, but I've heard it's the right type that I want. Let's see. Okay, yeah, there are definitely some large particles in there. But yeah, I still think this is the way to go. Okay, so we're gonna do 1 to 1. So one of those, and then the Jiffy soil mix. One of those. Let's just double it up because I know I'm gonna need that. And then 1 more of these. I'm going to very lightly moisturize it. I'm gonna add some water to it, but not a ton. I don't want this to be, I want it to be almost a little bit drier than I would usually have the soil. Okay, there we go. All right, that'll work. Okay, let's load these guys up. Seed in, and soil in. There we go. This will drain really well. Now we're gonna get the sedum in there. The seeds are tiny, I've heard, so this might be a struggle. Oh my goodness, they're dust. This is gonna be a struggle. All right, well, let's just pour them in this way. At this point, I would like to clarify, I'm a very new gardener, especially to flowers. So I don't really know what I'm doing. So if you guys, if I'm doing this completely wrong, please feel free to share the correct way of doing things. Yeah, because this, I'm unsure of this whole process, but yeah. Okay, so we are going to place them on a baking sheet and use a plastic bag as a humidity dome, which I think will work just fine. I'm not sure why it wouldn't. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. Good luck, little guys. Hope this works. Leave it cracked at the side a little so we got airflow. All right, hopefully that'll work. Whew. Okay, the final thing I'm going to plant today is kohlrabi. Apparently kohlrabi is German for cabbage turnip. So that should be interesting. There's a channel I love, and you probably all know of it if you're, at least if you're in the 6A general area, Growfully with Jenna. And that's where I learned about kohlrabi, and she seems to love it, and I think it looks like a really interesting vegetable, so I'm going to grow that. It's part of the brassica family. The variety that I'm growing is Quick Star F1 from Johnny's. Let's have a look at the seeds. Hopefully they're not tiny like the frickin' sedum ones. That was a nightmare. Okay, let's see. Ooh. Yes, decent sized normal seeds. Awesome. Okay, let's get started. So I'm out of seed trays, so I'm going to use these little little tiny pots. I'm going to do, let's see, there's 4 there, 4 there, so I'll do 8. And then later in the spring, I will direct sow some outside. You guys, I guesstimated that perfectly. Look. No soil left. I'm impressed, if I do say so myself. Okay, so I'm going to put 2 seeds per pot, or whatever the heck you call these things. These will not need to go on a heat mat because they're cool season crops. So I just want them up close to the light, same as everything else. And they should be good. And I'm just putting them, I'm kind of pressing them into the soil, but I'm not burying them. Okay, now I have to find a space for them under these lights. Okay, we're gonna use the baking tray again. I have a ton of these. My husband thought he was gonna start making cookies. I think he made 1 batch, and we have like 50 of those trays. He's the why buy one when you can buy 100 type of guy. All right, let's see. This in here. So, oh, it might be a little bit too tall. Let's see. Very tight fit. Okay. All right, well, they need some air circulation anyway, so I'm not too worried about it being totally sealed. Okay, and that's it. Thank you again for watching. Next week, I don't know that I'll be starting anything. I'm not sure that there's anything that needs to be started next week. Maybe some lettuces. I'm not sure. I'll have to check, as always. But I'll certainly make a video to show how things are going. I'm going to start some of the Anaheim peppers off camera. So if I'm lucky, they'll have germinated. That would be awesome. And hopefully, maybe we'll have some germination on the kohlrabi and the dragon's blood. The dragon's blood, I really have no idea what to expect. I just don't know. But we'll see. I think it would look absolutely stunning under that rose bush, and if it's successful, I would like to put it in some other places around the garden as well. Yeah. Anyhow, again, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and do all that good stuff. It really helps me out. And any tips, tricks that you know about the gardening or YouTubing or anything, life in general, please feel free to share. And have a great week. Peace.